you know, it is my 9th book, so I've kind of gotten over the hump about it. But it's funny how it was written. It's a little, in a way, of course, as Louis pointed out, it's like all my other books in that it's so intimate and personal, and you know, it's me, and you won't be surprised, but about that. But how it happened was, when I left Austin, I moved to Pennsylvania to get married, and I got married. And I had another baby, and I raised Hayes and Vince and my new baby in Pennsylvania, and that went on for about 10 years, and then it completely... That is explained in the introduction of the book. Okay, so things kind of went south, and I was unsure what to do. You know, I couldn't move back here because now I had a little girl whose father lived in Pennsylvania. And Hayes and Vince had definitely been very resettled up there, though by then they were in college. And I was teaching at the University of Baltimore. And I had been commuting there from rural Pennsylvania for years. But for some reason, it didn't occur to me that I should just move to Baltimore. And it was Laura Littman, the mystery writer, who's a friend of mine, who actually lived in Dallas at one point, who convinced me that I misunderstood how cool Baltimore really was. And I would say now that I've lived there for 5 years, that's really true. I really love Baltimore, and I encourage any of you, it's like, it does have a sort of a weird commonness with Austin, like the whole John Waters, quirky, artsy thing. It's like, when you tell people you live in Austin, they're all like, oh, you're so lucky. When you tell people you live in Baltimore, you don't get that reaction. But there's a similarity. There's something spiritually similar about it. And especially the writing scene there is so supportive. And the way that I ended up writing this book is a writer named Jessica Anya Blau, who has her new book out now called The Wonder Bread Summer. It's a novel that's getting all, you know, Oprah, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to talk to kill her. Okay. But she's my neighbor. And when I got to Baltimore and assumed that it would just take about 10 minutes for me to find a new boyfriend and have a happy new life, because as I realized I had not been single between, yeah, this thing is not really, but do I really need it? Can you hear me? Okay. So I actually had not been single from age 23 to age 50, because I met Tony at 23. I was already dating Rob Walsh when he died, sorry to say. And then I met Crispin, and I moved to Pennsylvania, and then I was 50. Okay, so I thought, okay, you know, I'll just turn around and the next person will come along. And this attitude really led to some problems. That are detailed in this book. So every time I would like turn around and see, you know, the next person that I just would assume everything would go so great, inevitably things would not go so great, and I would find myself at my neighbor Jessica Blau's house explaining this whole thing to her, her husband, and her teenage daughter. And they were, you know, wetting their pants, ha ha ha, rolling around. And, you know, finally it was insisted that I must write these things down. So I started writing them down, and basically, you know, it's the war stories of this period of me thinking that I would find love so easily, and then really changing my whole attitude about love and singleness to something much different than truly different than I felt about it before. So, I mean, it's not like a self-help book, but something does happen to me in it. And then I interwove some of the other things happened to me. I don't know if you know, but I was really sick last year. I had hepatitis C, and I'd had it for like 30 years, but I got quite sick, and I had to treat, and the treatment was very hard. And, you know, this is an example, it's like I would be lying on my couch, I would tell Jane, you know, just walk out in the street and see if you can get a ride to school, because that's Then I would wait and see if someone came by to bring me a glass of water. I mean, I had terrible anemia, and it was very hard. But now I'm all better, and I don't have hepatitis C, so that's good. And that's all in the book, too. And anyway, I came out the other side of all these experiences with this book. And I'm going to read you 2 parts of it, and then I'll take questions. And the first part I'm going to read is right at the beginning. And this is